So, I am back after a longer break. I am terribly sorry that it took me so long to get back to these videos and these thoughts, but sometimes each of us needs a break. And I was so overworked that I really was not able to convey what I would like to say. And of course, in the meantime, I had a dozen ideas what I would like to say, and I will probably sooner or later uh, put my ideas into practice, yes, transfer them into the words, and I will tell you what I really thought, because it's also connected to the last videos that I posted. But one topic, suddenly appeared in the meantime, and I find it also very, very important. So I would like to talk to you about silence. Yes, about silence, because silence is something that our society has almost forgotten. And silence is something that our society tries to erase, tries to remove. We as people try to avoid it. And of course, as I told you a lot of times, there are basically no coincidences in the universe, and this topic appeared and reappeared within a few days. As I said, I had a break and I went on vacation. I was on the island of Sardinia, and my original plan was to make a lot of videos there. But first of all, I needed some time for myself. Secondly, even though I had planned to spend that time all alone, I met a few people there. I met a few fantastic people there, and surprisingly, I found at least one of my soulmates who was hidden there, and I spent quite unexpectedly a lot of time with this person, and I will need to give you some background. I don't know what to start with. Okay, so let's keep the flow like that. So this person lives alone, basically lives alone, and invited me to their place a few times, to their home, and immediately when we entered that home, when we entered that place, this person has Alexa, like probably most of you, or similar devices. When we entered that place, this person immediately said, "Alexa, play the radio." Or another time when we entered, "Alexa, play the music." And I have spent most of my life in a similar way. I will tell you it in a moment. But since in the recent time I have changed and developed quite a lot, I've noticed it immediately. I was like, hey, I didn't say it. This person will probably watch this video, or at least I hope so. But my first thought was like, hey, why are you doing that? I am here with you. You don't need loud music immediately as the first thing when we enter your home, when we enter your house. We have been talking for a longer moment while driving home, and shouldn't we continue our conversation, our conscious being together? Of course, I did not say it. But I observed it, and it reminded me of the way I functioned for a long time, and quite a few people I know still do or used to do. Yes, I have so many thoughts at once. Um, I know. I will tell you a few more stories which are similar. Uh, I I come from a very unique, or nowadays maybe not unique, maybe typical family. So patchwork and repatchwork and repatchwork family and so on. And I remember I was still a kid then. I was about, I think I was about 10 uh, when my father met his second wife. They are not together anymore. A lot has changed since then. Anyway, when my father met his second wife, and when he kind of introduced her to our family, or when we kind of tried to build a family together, at that time she had been a widow for a few years. And the first thing she did every time she entered home, she entered her apartment, was to switch the radio on. And I'm not sure whether as kid I observed it really consciously. Of course, I noticed that, but I guess I did not really analyze it. But at some point, when we had already been kind of a family for some time, she still repeated that pattern. And every time, I'm sorry, I need to scratch my nose. And every time we entered home, she immediately turned on the radio, even though it was a similar situation. We were on some kind of a trip together, talking all the time, me, my father, our dog, and her. And then she switched on the radio, and I remember once my father say, "Why are you doing that? You don't need to switch on the radio immediately when you enter the house." And she was like, "But I hate the silence and loneliness." And my father was like, "But you are not lonely or alone any longer. You have us." And she was like, "Oh, you're right." So it was kind of automatic what she did. And I can tell you that for many, many years, I did exactly the same. Because apart from some short periods of time, when I'm not sure whether I can say that I had family. I had kind of family, or I lived with some people together, or I had a partner for some time. It did not take long, never. So most of my life, I was also all alone, or I have been here all alone. And it was also something that I did immediately. So I turned either the TV on or the radio on, and it was automatic. So somehow subconsciously, I knew that it was kind of a substitute of the presence of other people, so that I did not feel that alone, so that there was some background noise, there was some kind of a substitute of life in my place. Of course, I never said it really openly, especially regarding music, and especially when I was much younger, when I was a teen or something like that. I always said that I just really enjoy music, and that's true. And that's true for many people. But enjoying music and listening to it either for pleasure, when you really concentrate on music, or listening to it as fun while cooking or cleaning, is actually something different than playing the background sound all day long, all the time when you are somewhere. And when I started driving cars officially, um, I was a teenager, of course, at that time, and I also had always very loud music. And my father was still with that wife I have just mentioned, and a few times he got on the car because he needed a ride. I was a driver, and he was like shocked, and he also told me, "Why you and her?" Here was, of course, her name. Why do you always play such loud music? Can't you stand your own thoughts? Oh, that was striking, but I, I didn't want to admit it. That I was trying, to block kind of my own thoughts. But that was true. Of course, with years now, I also understood why it was like that. But the point is that most of us, and basically our society, we live in a constant noise. We do not let the silence in. And there are a few reasons, therefore. So one of them is, as I mentioned, it's this perceived loneliness, and it's also multi-dimensional. So first of all, people do not feel whole and complete and at ease with themselves because we are constantly being told that if you want to be complete, if you want to be kind of worthy and so on, we need to be with someone. Yes, we always say we are on we always say we are only one half of the whole, and we need to find our other half, or something like that. So when there are no people at your place, when there is no partner or no kids, and so on, people feel incomplete, and they try to find a substitute. That's the first thing. And oh my God, I started thinking, and I'm losing my track. So first of all, as I said, this perceived loneliness. When you want to feel, first of all, you're told that you're not complete. Secondly, you kind of expect some additional noise. And the other thing is that most people really cannot stand their own thoughts, because silence brings out what we do not want to admit, what we want to hide, what we want to push away, what we want to forget. And we are being taught to function like that all the time. So it's not only at our homes, even though our homes show it in a most striking way. But think of public places. Uh, Wherever you go, wherever you are, there is still some kind of background noise, like the radio playing or music playing, not allowing the silence, to find its own space. When you go to a shopping mall, when you go to the railway station, when you are at the airport, uh, anywhere, on the bus, even on the train, and so on, all the time, there is always some kind of music or radio or advertisements, commercials, and so on. There is a constant sound in the background, not allowing you to hear your own thoughts. Of course, when we go to crowded places, there are additionally a lot of people and cars and something, so there is this hum. But when you think of it, there is no public place, at least, where there is no sound, where there is no noise, where there is no music, where you would be able to hear your own thoughts. And as a society, we have learned it that much that even when we go to places where theoretically there should be kind of a silence, of course, a complete silence is not possible, because now I think, for example, when you go to a park or to a forest or to the mountains, there are a lot of sounds in the background, which you, by the way, do not hear at all, like birds chirping or the sound of the wind in the trees, moving their leaves and so on. But when people go for a walk or when they do sport there, people go jogging, look what we have invented. We have our, wireless earphones, some kind of AirPods or anything like that. And when people do sport, they go jogging, they cycle and so on, they always have it in, and they don't listen to the silence or the sounds of nature around them. They listen to music, some kind of podcasts, videos, YouTube, Spotify, or whatever. Still with this additional sound. And what is really striking, especially really if you go to such a place and you would like to enjoy a little bit of nature and of silence, like in the park, people who have picnics there, they bring some kind of wireless Wi-Fi, Bluetooth loudspeakers, again, playing music, playing the radio. When you are in the mountains and there are some groups of people passing by, or cyclists, again, they very often they play music using loudspeakers. Yes, it's so loud. There is a constant noise. Constant noise. When we go by car, most of us, what do? We listen to the radio or we play music. Yes, either from some apps, or some of us still kind of old school with CDs or something like that. Again, the same thing. Try to think of it. When was the last time when you allowed the silence to exist? No idea. Exactly. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do it, first of all, because we got used to, we were told like that, we were programmed like that. But silence is perceived as dangerous by our minds, by our thoughts, by our programming. Because what happens when there is silence? Well, let's first think, for example, when there is silence at home. Not outside, because outside we will discover something more. But what happens when you switch off all that noise, all that talking, all that background noise, all that humming, when suddenly there is nothing around? Then you start hearing, this inner talk of your mind, of your thoughts, of your fears, and so on. So the first moment when we are not able, to kill those inner voices, they start to talk very loud. There is a noise, but this inner noise, because all our thoughts, all our worries, all our fears, they start to talk loud. And it can be terrifying. It can be terrifying because you suddenly hear everything you don't want to admit. But try to sit with it. Do not get overwhelmed. Do not get overwhelmed. Don't let your, inner talker and your mind, we talked about it, you're not your mind, Don't let them convince you that all they are saying is true and it's certainly gonna happen and so on. Try to be a witness. It's the most important thing, to be a witness, not to be a participant, not to be a victim. Try to be a witness. Like some people say, I need to get out of myself and sit next to myself. I know the saying in a few languages actually. Try to observe, what is this inner talker, this mind, this inner voice trying to say? At the beginning, it will be very loud, telling you about all your failures, all your fears, showing you your loneliness and so on. But just observe it. Just observe it and let it speak, but do not participate. And then it will slow down. It will slow down. And if you observe it consciously, understanding why it is saying things like that, it may even stop talking for a moment. Of course, it will be difficult. It was like we said how to meditate, yes? So it will be silent for a moment, then it will start talking again. But, try to listen to it. What are these fears? Because, usually those fears, those stories, are things that are not connected with now. I told you some time ago about the book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. So which of these things really influence your now? Because if the inner voice is talking about the past is in the past. Of course, usually past kind of influences our now, at least, for example, because of something that happened in the past, we live in the place where we live or something like that. But it's already the past. It does not define you. And the future, the fear that you're gonna be all alone, for example, for the rest of your life, how do you know it? How do you know it? Maybe you will go on vacation and meet your soulmate tomorrow, or in a week, or in a month, I don't know. Let it speak, but do not participate. And of course, there might be things that you need to heal. I do not trust people who say there is nothing to heal. Of course, most of us, all of us, have smaller or bigger things to heal this way or another. But if there is something you need to work on or work with or to heal, in order to start that process, you need to face it. You need to acknowledge it. If you keep running away from it, if you keep hiding from it, if you try to kill that information with the constant noise, you're never gonna do it. Listen to it, see it, acknowledge, and then think if you should do something with that. If yes, maybe it's the time. If you allow silence for a little bit longer, you may also discover a lot of positive things that you normally do not hear. Because, your inner voice may and will probably speak about your real or imaginary failures or fears, but it has also some other stories to say. So silence is not dangerous. Silence is not your enemy. Silence is something that can finally set you free. It's your friend. It is your friend. But our best friends need to be honest sometimes. And your best friend, if it's really your best friend, will not lie to you all the time. about the things that need to be healed or improved or changed for your own good. So don't be afraid of it. And I will tell you more. Allow this silence, which is not really the silence, when you're outside, when you are in the nature, when you are sitting on the beach, by the ocean, or by the sea. Listen to the waves. And, waves do not give a shit to what others think of them. They do not try to hide or something. They are just the way they are. And they are part of the bigger thing, because they are part of the sea or the ocean. And they do not try to be the whole ocean. They are just themselves. Just listen to them. They're a constant being. And when you go to the park, to the forest, on a meadow, something like that, if you're not silent, you will not see the beauty of this place. You will not be able to hear the birds singing or chirping. You will not be able to hear the wind in the trees, moving their leaves. You will not be able to see the sunshine, the color of the sky. With your constant noise, no matter if it's your constant inner talking, or if it's loud music or podcasts or something, you will not be able to see it. You will not be able to acknowledge it. You will never be now. Allow it. Allow it to happen. You are able to see the world and the now and yourself only in being now and only in silence. And I understand how difficult it is. For many years, even a few months ago, I was this kind of person who constantly had AirPods in. And I listened to music, to podcasts, to tarot readings, to something. Of course, I learned a lot from them, and I really needed it. And I still listen to a lot of valuable things. I know, like some kind of, videos, podcasts, something like that by Alan Watts. But I don't need to do it all the time. I enjoy just walking in silence. And from time to time, I listen to something clever. By the way, as a typical ADHD person, I forgot to say, my another trigger for this topic. I think it was like 2 weeks after that meeting with a friend of mine at this person's house, where I noticed that this person needs this constant background noise. I just clicked into YouTube, and there was a video by Alan Watts about the silence, where he actually said something very similar to what I already had in my head and what I'm telling you. Almost the same. It's not a coincidence. And as I told you, I understand it. I understand the necessity, to not to let your thoughts in. Because I've been doing it for almost 40 years all the time. But now I am able to function without it. And what I want to say, it is very difficult for all of us because of the way we have been programmed, because of the society we live in. But some of us have even more difficult, because as I said, it applies to basically everyone. But if you are neurodivergent, if you have ADHD and that popcorn in your head, I already mentioned in one of my videos, As far as I heard, it's also similar for most people who are autistic. I am not autistic myself, so I cannot uh, say here too much. But as a person who has ADHD, I know how difficult it is, because people who have ADHD and most people who are neurodivergent, they have many more thoughts attacking them all the time. And most of us have really huge problems to concentrate on one thing, on one thought, because we get distracted all the time. And these thoughts from all possible areas and with all possible topics, they pop like popcorn in our head all the time. We talk about one thing, and then in the meantime there is a dozen thoughts, and so on. I know it. So for us, it's even more difficult. And actually, listening to very loud music or very loud podcasts helps us. Basically, podcasts are not that helpful, because we listen to some kind of text, some kind of speech, and we still get distracted because our thoughts go somewhere else. And we listen to it, but we don't understand. We don't hear it really. And then after 10 minutes, we're like, oh, what was it all about? It's already over. Oh, I was thinking about, in the meantime, about my shopping, about my work, about my ex, about my children, the fact that I need to go to the vet with my cat, and things like that. So loud music is usually much better, because it can really build this barrier. So I know how difficult it is, but having worked with myself, with my energy, with my mind, and so on, I can tell you that I have managed to overcome it, and I really enjoy the silence, and I am able to observe my own thoughts, understand them, acknowledge them. But I have also learned, to kind of switch them off. Really, I'm proud of myself, and to be here and now, and to enjoy the moment. And coming back to my vacation in Sardinia, I asked that person a few times if we could switch off the music, because I would like to be here and now, and I would like to be with this person. I would like to enjoy the garden, the sunset, and things like that. And this person did it, at least for some time. But, for, I guess, for the first time in my life, I was really in the present moment, being with that person, concentrating only on here and now, on what this person was saying, on what this person looked like, on the food we had, on the sounds from the garden, smells, and so on. That was it. And I watched, of course, I watched that person, and that person asked me, "What are you thinking about?" It's so typical about our society, yes, because you are here, you're with someone, but still thinking about something else. And I was like, I'm not thinking about anything. I'm here. I'm watching you. But what are you thinking about? I'm just enjoying the fact that we are here. And I really did. So if you know who you are, if you are watching that, I was there only with you. There was nothing more. It was only here and now. It was only us. And guys, now I'm speaking to all of you. I really wish you this ability and consciousness. Try to do it. Listen to my previous videos where I said about being here and now. Read the book by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Watch a few videos by Alan Watts. They are very clever. There are more content creators like that, or philosophers, thinkers, and so on. I really recommend it. And don't be afraid of the silence. When you finish my video, of course, please don't click off yet. Kidding. When you finish my video, you don't need to watch another. Just sit. Just sit in the silence. Really, it's not that dangerous. It is. It is very helpful. So I wish you a beautiful day or night or evening whenever you watch this video, and I will try to be here as soon as possible.